Welcome to Aula de Frente, the first to be program where the students can debate about different topics. And this afternoon, two teams will debate about an important topic in our education. The topic is social networks. And what do you think? Social networks are benefit or detriment for students? Let's listen.
Internet has changed our way of life and this helps us communicate with other ones through social networks. Many of us have friends we met online or interacted with someone we only know through social networks without having dealt with them personally. In social networks, we have friends that we don't know face to face. Nowadays, our personal information is available to be consulted at any time. This is like having many people watching behind a screen all the time. The number of users in social networks grows due to this. There are different positions, against or in favor, according to their function. There are people who say that social networks harm students, and others say that it helps students to communicate better with their classmates.
To able to debate in this afternoon transparently and cleanly, let's remember how is this debate in this TV program. Let's listen.
Each student has 1 minute to defend his position and arguments about the topic, while the other student can take note and prepare his questions. When the first student finishes saying his arguments, the other student will have 2 minutes to question the other student, and he must answer. This dynamic will be repeated when it is the turn of the other student.
I'm in favor with social networks. 80% of people have access to internet and social networks. Social networks are a type of communication to get closer with people. They are means of productivity for students. It is a way to keep us informed to business and any kind of things. According to the statistics, the 70 of students use social networks to communicate with their families and friends. For that reason, social networks are tools in the students' lives.
Okay, what benefits do students have when they spend time in social networks?
Uh, they can get a lot of benefits. They can do homework online, even if they are not together.
Yeah, and why do you think that social networks are tools for a student if the only thing that they do is distract to the students?
According to research carried out by sociologists from Cambridge University, social networks help to reduce stress in the students.
I want to start saying that social networks are considered a game in which there are no rules. Through social networks, you can see information for the kidnappers, for example. The main danger to which students are exposed is their privacy. With that, students are more likely to publish personal information without thinking about the consequences that their post can bring them. And also, students can easily see adult content due to this kind of material is through the social networks in the same post. But I want to emphasize the most important thing in this topic is that according to the investigation carried out by scientists at the University of Harvard, the students who use social networks disconcentrated in classes and they are thinking in the message that they have, and for that reason they get bad grades.
How do social networks affect students?
Uh, in fact, social networks are distractor for students because they see them like a game and they don't see what are the consequences if they use social network all the time.
You speak about consequences. What are those consequences?
As I told you, if students post all about them, the kidnapper can get that information. If they use social networks like a distraction, they can get bad grades. The work of these students is mainly synthesis and reconstruction. Each student will give a conclusion about the topic. They cannot present new arguments because it is a summary that students said. Each student have 1 minute to convince the public about their postures and objectives.
Internet is the future tool, so all students need to communicate with teachers and classmates, and through social networks they can do it. This kind of communication doesn't need a lot of money. If you want to communicate with other ones, also in social networks you can find important information because many web pages publish the research on these social sites such as health, technology or education. While students in their free time surfing social networks, they can learn a lot of things. According to California Institute of Technology, social networks are tools that connect to the world in seconds.
As well as there are many dangers when you use social networks, especially for students. They don't know all bad things that internet and social networks have, and they only use them like a game and distractor. They don't see the consequences that social networks bring them. The privacy is so important in this kind of communication. We post photographs and personal information that all people can see through the social networks. And those people can use this information to create false profiles that affect our personal integrity.
We live in a world where technology is fast pacing, and access to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and many other social platforms is all around us. With 95% of teens using the internet and 81% of them using social media, it is important to understand the possibilities that arise when using such websites. My name is Sophie, and I'm going to talk to you about social media, the good and the bad. So let's start with time. Whilst juggling school, sleep, and many other activities, on average it's been found that we teenagers manage to fit in 5 hours a day on social networks. In this time, you could have flown to Cyprus, or boiled 50 eggs. So it looks like we're spending a fair amount of time online. Let's take a look at some of the cons. One of the biggest social networking problems is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is just like normal bullying, except it requires the use of electronic communication. Electronic communication can be anything from a laptop to a tablet, devices that are all around us. It's been found that half of students have reported being cyberbullied. This is scary as it can result in both emotional as well as psychological consequences, ranging from schooling problems to deviant behaviour. Unfortunately, social media is still being used as a platform for sexual abuse. We often hear of terms such as sexting on the news, where explicit messages or photos are sent online. In the past years, there has been a 28% of increase in calls to Childline. It's important to remember that as a young person, sexting is illegal and can end up in some serious consequences. Teenagers who are sexually abused are 3 times as likely to become depressed or suicidal. Another issue with social networking is fake profiles. With 83.09 million fake accounts on Facebook alone, that's more accounts than people that live in the UK. This is mind-blowing. The main problem is you may have no idea who you were talking to. Another risk is advertising. Social platforms such as Facebook use algorithms. These look at private information such as your date of birth, where you live, and even personal traits. By doing this, advertisers can choose advertisements which are most suited to you. This can be dangerous as your information is no longer confidential. Now let's explore some of the positives. Socialising. Isn't that what social networks were made for? With 52% of teens stating that social media has helped their relationships with other people, social networks can not only facilitate the creation of new friendships, but also allow you to develop and maintain existing friendships. This is a key skill in your social life. Social networks can even be used as educational tools. Whether you want to discuss homework or research an unfamiliar topic, social networks allow you to do this. It can also provide platforms for schools to create online resources such as blogs to answer any questions and interact with students such as yourself on an educational level. Many teenagers share content on websites such as YouTube or on a personal blog. This content can range from creating art to story sharing. Furthermore, we teenagers can also comment on this content that others are uploading. This is a form of self-expression and allows you to be creative and connect with others online with the same interests. By sharing content, it allows us to increase our collective self-esteem and communicate with individuals from all around the world. Closely linked to collective self-esteem, research has shown that social media can increase our individual self-esteem. This is common with teenagers who would normally find face-to-face situations daunting and uncomfortable. This is great as it means that social networks can increase social capital for many teenagers who feel unable to make friends. So let's sum up. Today we've looked at the negatives: cyberbullying, sexual abuse, fake accounts, and advertising. And on the other hand, socialising, improving education, sharing content, and finally increasing self-esteem. So today I've spoken about a few of the pros and cons involved with social networking. By looking at both the positive and negative aspects, you can be aware of any dangers while also enjoying the benefits. Furthermore, you can now share this knowledge with others. My name is Sophie and I hope you found this useful.